Episode 2 of the Mesh Network explanation videos. So today I'm just going to introduce the hardware that I've selected for the project. We've got very few components really, and they're pretty small. So we're going to just go through them and look at some of the thoughts that went into their selection. So obviously the most important component of this network is the NRF24L01 RF module. Now, as you can see, this is not the standard NRF24L01 module that you see in a lot of videos. This is a more recent power amplified version. If you want to search for this, you search NRF24L01 plus PA, that's power amplified plus LNA. And that will get you this, which is a much larger module, although it's still fairly small, really. And it's got some important benefits, including, well, basically its big benefit is range. It's the same throughput, same module as the regular NRF24L01, but this one is power amplified, which means that it's at least what it's said to do is up to 1,000 meters at 250K, and then what is it? I think 500 meters at 1 meg and 250 meters at 2 megs, something like that. So we're going to shoot for for somewhere about half of the range, and half the throughput is probably a better real world estimate, but it's pretty good. These sell for around $10 in the US, which isn't a lot, but you can get them a lot cheaper if you buy Chinese, which isn't my preference, but I did buy these from China on AliExpress. They showed up in 2.5 weeks, something like that. So just plan ahead if you plan on doing that. This was $2.40 or something like that. So really, it's a lot of horsepower for for $2 and change. So that's the RF module we're going to be using. It did come with an antenna, and I've ordered 6 of these, so we'll have enough to play with the network here. So it comes with an antenna, SMA connector. You can hook up bigger antennas if you want. Seems to be decently well constructed. I haven't actually powered this up yet. I'm actually just starting the project. So that is the RF module we will be using. So I will set that aside and move on. So one of the things that you have to deal with a more powerful RF module is that one actually has quite a bit of current draw. I believe it can draw up to 115 milliamps, which is a lot more than the Arduino can handle. So you can get these super cheap adapter boards that have all the voltage regulator and the capacitors to handle the current draw and resistors and all the things that make the power nice and clean and happy for these guys with the beefier power amplified RF module. So basically I got this because it was too cheap not to get. This was something like 60 cents from the same site. So I just threw in 6 of those as well. You know, just a pretty standard adapter board. I've thought about desoldering everything from it and just running direct connections with wires to save space, but it depends on the enclosure I use because there's still a little bit of debate in that arena. So we'll get to that in a later video, but hopefully this will make it nice and simple to just interface directly with the Arduino and not have to worry about pulling too much current through it and things like that. So that's the adapter board for the NRF24L01 plus PA plus LNA, which is a lot to Google. Finally we have, well not finally, almost finally, we have the Arduino module, and this is a knockoff if you couldn't tell already. This is a knockoff from China, from the same AliExpress website. The reason I felt comfortable going with this was because it had a ton of reviews and they were all really good, so I figured it was worth a shot. This is the same microcontroller chip from Atmega that from Atmel that the Arduino Uno uses. So it's actually got the same number of pins and the same amount of horsepower and memory and all that good stuff that the Arduino Uno uses. And I've used the Arduino for years, and I've liked that chip, and I'm just more comfortable with that. So picked these up. These cost $1.80. I was really impressed. If you can get a working Atmega 328 for $1.80, that is pretty solid. So I've got half a dozen of these, and hopefully this will be the microcontroller that powers the does all the thinking for these radios. So they come in these little anti-static bags, which is pretty nice, and they have headers which are not soldered on, which is actually preferable for most of mine. I may solder them onto one just for prototyping and then just wire the others directly through. But alright, so the last thing I need to show you is the battery power source. Obviously this blows up my my size a little bit. It's fairly large. You can see just the shape of my hand and the size of the rest of the components. It's several inches tall, about 6 inches taller. So it's I'm trying to remember, 5,000 milliamp hours. So it's actually a huge battery for this RF module. This could probably last, I don't know, depending on what you're doing with it, it might last for a couple of years just on a single charge. But I do like the fact that it has solar charging, and really this should be enough to keep it topped off well beyond what you would be drawing out of it. So honestly, I'm not super impressed with this item in particular. You can see there's a green light in here that indicates when it's got light. Let's see, it's still getting a little light from the room here, but yeah, so that's how you can see when it's getting a charge. And then you can press here and it lights up with some sort of power indicator there. It does have 2 USB ports. They claim it's waterproof. I'm kind of questioning that now that I can look at the quality of it in person. I'm kind of worried that, yeah, you know, maybe it's okay for rain. Definitely wouldn't want to submerge this. Don't think it's really up for that kind of thing, but it does have a handy LED flashlight on double tap there. The button has been a little flaky in its operation, but yeah, I think this is one of the better ones here. So this was $9, and it was far cheaper than trying to get a $6 $6 solar panel and then the charging circuit and all those things, and then trying to get it into a waterproof case and whatever. So I'm thinking of going with some sort of a plastic case, maybe something like this. I'm not sure if I want to go with that specific model or not, but basically make a node like this and then just stick it on the back of these solar panels, and then you can zip tie this to the top of a fence or set it on top of something outside, on top of a building or whatever, and you should have a pretty decent battery life out of that. All these parts, I'll have links to them on the project page, so you should be able to find these pretty easily. So just a quick rundown of the prices. This was $2.50, something like that. This was about 60 cents. This guy was $1.80, and the solar charger was about 10 bucks. So that's just a quick rundown of the hardware that we'll be using in this project. So you can look for those links in the project page and get started on your own.